You are taught to explain yourself. Teachers, managers, even well-meaning friends told you that if you just make yourself clear, people will understand and respect you. That belief keeps you weak. It turns you into an applicant for approval. It conditions you to accept a position below anyone who demands a reason. You think you are being transparent. They experience you as manageable. Explanations are applications. Most people explain because they are trained to fear social friction. They try to make everyone comfortable. They think words solve status problems. In real life, words do not erase hierarchy. They reveal it. The one who explains is already negotiating from the back foot. The one who asks why is testing your standing. If you treat every challenge as a customer service ticket, people treat you like support staff. That is not malice. It is how the brain works. Status detection is fast and mostly automatic. It reads cues like certainty, brevity, and indifference. Over-explaining flags you as low leverage. It says your approval can be purchased with enough pressure. When you stop explaining yourself, a different set of rules activates. Power respects clarity more than detail. Results erase doubts faster than arguments. Machiavelli wrote that people judge more by appearance than reality. He did not glorify deception. He described how perception drives action. Silence is not decoration. It is a boundary. It tells others what is not up for debate. That boundary signals rank, and the brain reacts to that signal whether someone admits it or not. The first law that activates is ambiguity leverage. Ambiguity is not confusion. It is intentional restraint. When you leave space, people project their own expectations. Projection is not a poetic idea. It is a known cognitive process. The mind fills gaps based on prior beliefs and status cues. If you stand still and speak less, those who want to believe in you will find reasons to. Those looking for a fight will reveal themselves faster. Either way, you learn more by saying less. You do not give critics big targets to attack. You do not give anxious people fuel to spiral. The cost of constant explanation is cognitive overhead with no return. The benefit of controlled ambiguity is leverage. Explanations are applications. Ambiguity is a test. The second law is frame ownership. A frame is the set of assumptions that define a conversation. If someone asks you to explain yourself, they have implied a frame. Your job is to accept it or reject it. Epictetus taught the dichotomy of control. Decide what is yours to control and what is not. Whether you take every demand as valid is under your control. If you accept their premise, you start arguing inside their box. If you decline the premise, you hold your ground. Refusing to explain is not hostility. It is a statement of jurisdiction. My choices belong to me. My reasons are not a public asset. In every interaction, there is a judge and an applicant. When you rush to justify, you choose to be the applicant. When you state your position and stop, you choose to be the judge of your own behavior. People will not like this if they are used to dragging others into their frame. That is the point. You are not negotiating your sovereignty with anyone who wants it. The third law is scarcity signaling. Human valuation is sensitive to scarcity. Behavioral economics has shown that people attribute more value to what is less available. That instinct runs on fast, automatic circuitry. It does not wait for a spreadsheet. When you over-explain, you make your attention and energy look cheap. You show that anyone can requisition your time with a challenge. When you say less, your words become costly. Scarcity increases perceived quality. The effect compounds if your decisions are sound. People may not like it, but they adjust to it. They do not take repeated shots at a wall that does not talk back. They learn your availability is earned by alignment, not by pressure. The mind reads that as status, not arrogance, standard. The fourth law is asymmetric accountability. The explicable inherits the burden. When something goes wrong, the person who gave the most commentary will be held responsible for the most variables. It is an old workplace trick. Get the conscientious person to talk through their plan in public. Watch everyone else nod. Later, when the environment changes, blame the only person who put their name on specific predictions. Stoic practice is useful here. Focus on what you can control. State what you will do and what you will not do. Refuse to forecast outcomes that are outside your reach. When you stop explaining, you stop absorbing everyone's uncertainty. You force others to own their piece of the puzzle. That is not cold. It is clean. The fifth law is tempo control. Whoever controls tempo controls the terms. In negotiation research, time pressure reduces decision quality. Rapid, reactive speech increases errors. The prefrontal cortex does better with space. When you do not explain on demand, you slow the game. You choose when to engage and when to disengage. Dopamine spikes with uncertainty. People chase fast answers because the brain craves closure. You do not feed that craving. You hold the pace that lets you think. You let others reveal themselves while they try to fill silence. This is not a trick. It is discipline. You are not obligated to be available on someone else's timeline. You create a delay that forces sincerity to emerge and performance to fade. The person who claims urgency will either handle it themselves or admit it was theater. The sixth law is reputation compounding. Consistency compounds. If your words are rare and accurate, people start to believe you on sight. Cialdini wrote about the commitment and consistency principle. We prefer to act in ways that align with our past statements. You can use that internally. Say little, then deliver. The less you explain, the more you must decide your priorities before you speak. Over time, observers file you under predictable categories. Does this person chase approval, or do they mean what they say? Your refusal to explain builds the second category. The reward is compound interest on trust. The cost is that you will be called distant. Accept that cost. Trust built on scarcity and accuracy is stronger than trust built on people-pleasing. It lasts longer because it is anchored to outcomes. The seventh law is selective exposure. When you stop justifying yourself, you repel people who need control and attract people who respect boundaries. You will lose certain contacts. You will gain stronger ones. Social networks self-organize around unspoken rules. If one person refuses to entertain endless friction, the echo chamber of drama breaks down. That can feel lonely at first. It is not failure. It is filtration. Evolution did not design our brains for worldwide acceptance. It designed them to read local cues and conserve energy. Your refusal to explain sets the rule set for your local world. The quality of your surroundings improves because the wrong targets self-select out. These laws do not give you permission to be careless. They put the weight back where it belongs. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the inner citadel. Guard your attention and your time as if they are a fortress. If you stop explaining, but your results are poor, the silence will turn against you. This is the counterweight that keeps the whole system ethical. You cannot hide behind brevity to escape responsibility forever. These laws are not camouflage. They are structure. They force you to become precise with your choices. The less you say, the more those choices matter. There are objections. Some will say that refusing to explain is rude. They are confusing kindness with submission. You can be calm and still set a limit. You can offer a clear no with no insult attached. Others will say that relationships need communication. That is correct. Communication is not the same as justification. Healthy communication is two people sharing relevant information and boundaries. Unhealthy communication is one person interrogating the other to gain leverage. Do not blur the difference because someone is uncomfortable when they meet a boundary. They are allowed to be uncomfortable. You are allowed to be clear. Some will say this is manipulative. It is not. It is the removal of performative self-defense. Manipulation is when you hide your intentions to extract a benefit. Refusing to explain is the opposite. You state the action. You refuse to beg for permission. You let people respond however they wish. That creates cleaner data. It reduces noise. It trains you to live with the small discomforts that build real autonomy. Stoicism trains this tolerance. You choose virtue and action over audience reaction. Not because you are above people, because you cannot live a coherent life if every decision must survive the court of public opinion. Human biology makes this hard. We are wired to fear exclusion. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up during social pain. In other words, rejection registers as harm. That is why you feel a need to explain. You want to escape that pain. You try to engineer safety through detail. It does not work. The people who love you do not need it. The people who want control will never be satisfied by it. Your nervous system needs a new pattern. It needs exposure to the sensation of holding your line and surviving the fallout. Each time you do, your threshold for discomfort rises. Self-respect becomes your default state. Approval becomes a variable, not a requirement. You will also be tested. Silence will be called arrogance. Boundaries will be called attitude. Those labels are tools. They are meant to shake you into a negotiated surrender. Let the test do its job. It shows you who values you only when you are easy to move. It shows you who respects choice, even when they dislike it. You cannot see this data if you keep flooding the system with apologies and essays. The practical reality is simple. In any room, someone sets the tone. Someone decides what is negotiable and what is not. If you cannot do that for yourself, someone else will. When you stop explaining, you declare what belongs in each category. You show people how to treat you. You save your words for action. You save your energy for work that speaks loud enough to carry you. You become a person whose silence has meaning. Not because you are trying to be mysterious, because you have nothing to sell. Note the pattern. Explanations are applications. Each time you default to justification, you walk into a job interview where the other person is the hiring manager and you are the candidate. You may think that if you list enough reasons, you will get the role. You will not. Approval granted on demand is approval that can be revoked at any moment. Say less, do more. Let results finish conversations that arguments cannot. If you want a test that will reset your baseline, here it is. For the next week, remove any sentence that begins with, because when you are communicating a boundary or a decision, state the boundary, leave space. Watch who respects it. Watch who pushes. Note the difference. This is not a stunt. It is a calibration of your nervous system. The goal is not cruelty. It is control. Most people will never do this. They would rather be seen as nice and be seen as strong. They will stay in rooms where they are constantly asked to explain, then complain in private about never being understood. That is the majority. The minority sees what you see now. They understand that power is not granted. It is arranged through behavior that signals sovereignty. They understand that silence is not empty. It contains decisions. If you are part of that minority, act like it. Stop narrating your motives to people who do not have your best interest in mind. Set your terms. Speak in clear statements. Let your commitments and your output do most of your talking. If you want more of this kind of training, subscribe and stay close. I do not build for the crowd. I build for the few who are ready to carry themselves without apology. If that is you, leave a simple signal. No explanations. Then do what you came here to do.